Well, I'm 16, so I was born 2003, May 19th, at a hospital in Grand Rapids. My childhood was pretty boring. I didn't do much. My parents suggested doing sports, and I was like, sure, I'll try it at least once, and then we kept going, even though I wasn't very good at it, nor was I interested by it. I've always kind of played instruments. That's probably the main reason why I'm into band. My grandpa is actually he's going to college for a composer.
My relationship with Chris has been an odd one. When he arrived as a freshman, I just saw him as another freshman, but then I realized so much more than that. You know, sometimes you don't realize who people truly are until they just show up. One day he patted me on the back. He said, "I'm Chris," and from that moment on, I knew. My relationship with him would last through high school, and we might be friends, but probably not.
I first met Chris Torrey, it must have been 3 years ago at band camp. It was when I was still in marching band. It was an interesting day when I met him, to say the least. There were a few interesting people that came along with him into band that year, but I think out of everyone there, Chris Torrey was the biggest nerd.
My dad grew up playing trumpet, my mom clarinet. I started trying to teach myself piano after hearing my grandpa play it once, right? And then I basically gave up on that because I didn't have the requirements nor the knowledge available to me to learn it. And then came around just before 6th grade, they were trying everyone for instruments, and I don't know, I figured I was going to be a trumpet because that's what my dad did. And when they went through it, they were like, yeah, you kind of weren't actually the best at using the trumpet mouthpiece. You were actually better at the trombone mouthpiece, so you should be a trombone. And then I went into the trumpet anyways, kept going, and just haven't stopped because I still enjoy music. It still gives a feeling, and it can tell a different message regardless of what instrument or who's playing it.
Chris is constantly on his computer playing games with his friends, you know? And if he's not doing that, he's complaining because his mom's on the computer at the moment.
So we were playing games, right? And there was this great game that we were all gonna buy, right? It was pretty good. It was low price, you know, it was only $30. It wasn't a AAA title or anything. It was just a $30 game. And so everyone's, you know, scrambling to get the money, trying to buy it. And Chris has a job, right? He's earned plenty of money. He's got a car. He's chilling with all this stuff. But his excuse for not buying the game is he spent all of his money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Alright, Christopher Torrey's addiction to Yu-Gi-Oh cards is the most absurd thing. So he's sitting there complaining that he needs more money, and yet he spends his paycheck as soon as he gets it at the card shop down the street.
He likes to laminate his cards, and if they touch the floor, he cleans them off for a lengthy process.
Personally, I think Chris needs to stop buying cards. They're not worth it. You know, he's not playing in championships or anything. He's not doing anything impressive. He's not trying to become pro, so what's the point in buying all of these cards? He's just playing up against high school students.
In addition to Yu-Gi-Oh, Chris also spends a large period of his free time, out of school and out of work, participating in his school's Dungeons and Dragons Club.
Chris's actions in Dungeons and Dragons are the most hypocritical things that I've ever seen in the world. He sits there playing the game, which is fine, and then he'll completely flip and snap against the entire party, and it'll be a riot. There will be no organization, and they'll be fighting each other when there's an enemy sitting there laughing at them.
Chris has had 2 characters so far in D&D. He's managed to screw both of them up within the first 5 minutes of playing with them. While they both have their good moments, they end up doing bad things for the whole party in general, and screwing them over.
Being a junior in high school, Chris has much work that he is forced to do by the government. However, in his free time, Christopher works at Little Tony's Pizzeria.
I started working there because when I needed to start looking for a job, I was looking for something that I could walk to or get to biking pretty easily because I couldn't drive at the time and wanted to make the money so I could drive and save for college and yada yada. It's basically one person's working at a time, so you gotta be responsible for doing everything, whether that be making cooler items, making warmer items, so like cheese curds, cheesy tots, chicken nuggets, yada yada, so people can buy those on the way out of the gas station. You can make pizzas for by the slice and by the order. We don't gotta deliver, but we also gotta be able to prep and prepare for the next days and do it in speedy times. At most, it can get a little obnoxious maybe when dealing with mostly the cleaning or the picking up. I just not the biggest fan of cleaning or picking up around, especially when it's getting towards the end of my shift and I just want to leave. I've come more involved in the community. The people at the gas station recognize me. They come in, if they ever have questions, they know I'm probably the one to ask. I remember one day I was talking to the card shop owner, and one of the ladies at the gas station had asked me what's the difference between ethanol and non-ethanol gas because they didn't know it at the top of their head. And explained it, and they went on with their day, but they knew that they could come to me with questions.
In addition to working, Dungeons & Dragons, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, Chris has also dabbled in the art of YouTube video making.
He only has one video uploaded currently. It is a Minecraft party advertisement video we filmed last year for our government school project. You know, it was a Minecraft party, so we thought we had to stay consistent and film our video in Minecraft.
The filming and editing process was... I cannot think of a word to describe it. I've never really been working on editing or making projects before like that. So we went with our options and we were trying to find one without a watermark. And Aiden Knappen suggested using Filmora 9 because on the computers here, it's got the paid version which doesn't include a watermark. I didn't have the non-included watermark. So it did end up with a watermark on it, which tied it all together, made it better. When I first made the video, I was embarrassed, but the video turned out to be an absolute hit. The rest of the class found it, I'm gonna go with a little bit cringe, but also kind of funny and well done for a Minecraft video.
The following is the entirety of the video that Chris took sole responsibility in editing and writing the script for.
Chris, come on down! What is it, Quentin? Look at these cool videos I found. They're awesome! Wow!
Man, I wish I had something to help this go faster.
Here, take this. With better technology, you can get more things done faster. Man, I love my nice house. Oh no, my house! So many memories gone! Here at the Minecraft party, we go against bullying no matter what. Support all Minecrafters out there.
So, bro, what do you think about my Crocs, dude?
Your Crocs are fire, but not the straight heat that my Gucci flip-flops have.
Alright,
Yeah, where are we going for lunch today, dog?
Taco Bell? You want some Taco Bell?
Yeah, I'm down for Taco Bell. I want to go out for lunch.
So, Quentin, where do you want to go out to eat today, bro?
Something spicy sounds good, you know?
Spicy.
I'm always down for some spicy, man. How about Cubadova?
Ooh, I'll take that.
Here at the Minecraft party, we leave all other drivers who go out for lunch.
Hey, you down here?
Hey, what's up, kid? How you doing, man?
Got any of the goods?
Hey, yeah, I got the goods. You want some of this? Yeah. How about some of these? Yeah. Lots of selection. Thanks for the business, brother. I'll see you around.
Wait, no, drugs are bad.
Yeah, what you can do, bad kid? I'm making this bank. Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in jail.
What? What do you mean? What? No! No! No!
Drug use
Let me out!
is rapid,
Let me out!
and the consequences can be very severe. You ready for this dart, man?
Whoa! Oh, man, you
Yeah.
almost got my card there. That was quite a throw. But how about this? Oh, sorry. that was
Short
a little
again, man.
Sorry.
Hey, it's alright. You'll get there. Ready?
Better right on her. Whoa! That was a good one. I'll get it
Thanks, man.
this time.
Ooh, that was nice. That was nice.
Hey,
Oh,
guys,
this.
can I join?
Wait, you want to join? Yeah, sure.
Join in? Yeah, sure.
Here, take it. What?
Nice catch, man. Here
Ready?
at the Minecraft party, we support extracurricular activities so everyone can join.
I'm Chris Torrey,
And I'm Quinn Helzel.
and we approve this message.
That video was taken straight from YouTube. The audio, the video, and the speed of both of them were unaltered by me. While it may not be the most impressive thing in the world, this video is a prime example of what makes Chris so endearing to those around him and why so many people are friends with him. Some of the things he does might come off as weird or strange, but they stick in the minds of people who have been around him and interacted with him, and they really cause people to think about what makes Chris Torrey and why he's so special.
He's very interested in animals. I mean, so interested. In fact, one time he caught a mosquito with his bare hands, and he whispered something to it, and he let it go. It was kind of beautiful.
I remember that clearly now. I was there actually. It was mid-chat, like he was caught it. It was like he whispered something and it flew off like nothing happened. Like I don't know. It could have cured Zika for all I know. Well, we have this thing called the Chris moment, you know. Chris does this weird action, but no one can explain it. It just happens. Like it's a Chris moment, really.
Sometimes he just starts to wave his hand, like it's kind of random. I think he does it whenever he's like he gets food. It seems like when he goes to the lunch line, he does that a lot.
Chris has this obsession with this Doki literature character, like Monica. I don't know. I think he's obsessed with her. I don't know what it is.
Alright, so all these normies out here saying that Monica isn't the best Doki.
He goes out and attacks people who think otherwise, like think other Dokis or whatever they're called. Like there's this one app called Discord, right? And we're on our friend's server. He has this whole section of the server dedicated to Monica. And he gets angry actually. If somebody posts a picture of Monica there, he doesn't like. It can be a scary situation. Like no one can understand why he likes it. Like he constantly trashes on other Dokis for no reason. Like, you know, we'll be sitting there talking, he'll start trashing on other Dokis. Or other Doki fans.
Monica's best Doki.
In addition to his other obsessions, Chris has another major addiction: kale. At some point during his high school career, Chris managed to get himself addicted to kale.
Man, Chris's kale addiction, that's a problem. He works at a pizza place, and every time he gets food from there, he always throws on kale. Like, who even likes kale? What is kale? What's the point in eating kale? It's not like it's something special. It doesn't have any special taste or any flavor to it. It's just something useless. So why put it on pizza? I think he has a problem with kale, and I think he needs to go to like a rehab center or something. Like there needs to be an Alcoholics Anonymous for people who are addicted to kale.
Chris's addiction to kale. I think I first noticed it at lunch, sitting there munching on leaves of, well, at the time, I just saw green leaves, and I'm like, what in the world are you eating? He's sitting there, it's kale. Got a big bag of kale.
He's got a kale addiction. That is news to me. Surprisingly, my perspective on him doesn't change at all. I feel like it's something he would do, you know? I feel like that's kind of normal for someone of his persona.
We were sent to the store, me and my little sister, to go get lettuce and whatnot for a salad. And instead of getting lettuce, we got only kale. I'm not a big fan of tomatoes. For instance, they had a lot of tomatoes in theirs, and I picked all mine out because I'm just not the biggest fan of tomatoes, especially with other greens. It was mostly just a little bit of ranch and kale. And then my mom's like, that's not lettuce, that is kale. Well, then I knew what the name was, so I kind of just started eating it. Meyer sells these little boxes, like, I don't know their exact size, but they got a decent amount of ounces in them. I ate probably about a third of the box, and with a little bit of ranch, and that's, sprinkle a little bit of cheese on there, and that's my kale, I guess.
Chris has a big role in this band. He's not even the section leader of the trumpets. He plays trumpet, but Matthew, the real section leader, entrusts him with a lot of leadership in the fact that he lets him like do the playing tests and have other people play for him. And I think Chris has really grown. He might not be the best trumpet player, but he makes up for that in other qualities. And I think by the time he's a senior, he will be a great leader in the band, even more so than he already is. And I think that he'll help us win a state championship, even though Cedar Springs has never done that ever. So I think he'll be a big part in that.
So with as many characteristics, we'll call them characteristics, I think he's a pretty darn good guy. He's kind, friendly. I haven't heard a harsh word out of him. I've heard strict words, but nothing harsh.
I don't dislike much about Chris. I think that it's easy to poke fun with him. Chris is very unique. He's juxtaposed compared to everyone else, and I think when he wants to, he can be very successful.
Though aspects of Chris's personality may be questionable to some, the fact that the friendships he has forged with those around him have remained in place throughout all of high school cannot be questioned. While Chris may not be without his faults, and he may certainly have his moments, he's definitely a good person. Through my time spent around Chris, and through my time interviewing people who have chosen to spend their times around Chris, I've heard nothing but good things about Christopher Torrey. He's a friend, he's a good person, and most of all, he's someone that you would never regret spending time with.
It was a dark, foul night, right? And it was pitch black. I was driving down the road. Only thing I could see was what I could see in my headlights. And then I looked off to my left out the window, and there was this gleam. So I decided to investigate, you know, because I'm curious. And so I drove next to him, and there was Chris Torrey standing in the field by the road, just standing there with his forehead glowing because it's just so insanely huge.
majestic. Chris Torrey is a majestic human being. He works at Little Tony's restaurant, Cedar. Never been there myself personally. I haven't had the opportunity to visit the holy site now, but I'll make my way eventually. You know?
So people called Chris a religious figure. Do you see him as an idol?
He is one. He is the god of boomers. You see, like we praise him at his feet.
Oh man, my closing words about Christopher Torrey would have to be, he's the biggest loser, and he needs to grow up. He's just a kid. Like, he's living a 4-year-old's fantasy as a, 16-year-old now? Maybe 7? I don't know how old he is. He's older than 4, though. I know that for a fact.
So I think he's going to go to Harvard and actually petition to have a Yu-Gi-Oh class where he will teach some students his ways, and he's pretty much a master. So I mean, I can't understand why they wouldn't let him just, teach some Yu-Gi-Oh, play some Yu-Gi-Oh, get paid for it. I mean, zoology is important, but I think we need a strong leader like Chris in the Yu-Gi-Oh community.
At one of Christopher's birthday parties, he had, I think it was his birthday party, I'm pretty sure. He had a bunch of friends over, and we all played in the woods. And it was hilarious, because we were playing Slenderman. And me and my brother, we were in the woods, separate from each other. And Slenderman's by my brother, and all I can hear is a scream from my brother. I laughed.
So, what are your thoughts about his addiction to eating potato? Go with it.